the sea, far over the wild mighty flow. On the ocean and deep and sails upon high, it's just like a bird of the wind. And when the shadows of evening draw nigh, he'll stand to my window and sing. Come take a trip in my airship, come take a sail on the storm. Come and ride around Jesus, come and spin around town. So us where we'll see, so as to see where we go. Come take a trip in my airship, and we'll visit the man in the moon.
Greetings, loyal airmen. And hey, check that background out, will you? Captain Ron and Chief Engineer Rob, who's joining me, are getting a little fancy here, aren't we, buddy?
Just a little bit. I tried a little bit of that earlier today, and that's kind of cool. I have to find something neat to put behind me. Maybe, maybe get the same thing. I don't know.
Rob had sent me an email, I think it was a couple weeks ago. There was an article online, right, about making your videos a little more professional and whatever. Hey, bear with us. We're gonna try some of these things out. We've been doing this show now for several years, and been it's always fun to spice things up a little and not have the same old office backgrounds that we foist on all of you all the time.
I turned the lights down behind me here, and I've got a light that as you can see, it shines on my face so that I can be seen a little bit better. Yeah. But Ron's got a window behind him there, so this will be maybe help in that respect. So you're not looking at you're not looking at the
ball dome that shines and blinds people all the time.
Well,
all right. Here we go. Okay, so this is episode number 63, and this month Rob has the honors of starting with a bad joke. Go get it, buddy.
All right, here we go. John went to visit his 90-year-old grandfather in a very secluded rural area of Georgia. After spending a great evening chatting the night away, John's grandfather prepared breakfast of bacon, eggs, and toast. However, John noticed a film-like substance on his plate and questioned his grandfather, asking, "Are these plates clean?" His grandfather replied, "They're as clean as cold water can get them. Just you go ahead and finish your meal, sonny." For lunch, the old man made hamburgers. Again, John was concerned about the plates, as he appeared to have tiny specks around the edge that looked like dried egg. And he asked, "Are you sure these plates are clean?" Without looking up, the old man said, "I told you before, sonny, those dishes are as clean as cold water can get them. Now don't you fret. I don't want to hear another word about it." Later that afternoon, John was on his way to a nearby town, and as he was leaving, his grandfather's dog started to growl and wouldn't let him pass. John yelled and said, "Grandfather, your dog won't let me get to my car." Without diverting his attention from the football game that he was watching on TV, the old man shouted, "Cold water, go lay down."
Oh, that's bad. Okay, that's bad. That's bad. Don't want to think about it too much.
The less you think about it, the better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, we got quite a few things.
We got a few things to cover, yeah.
In this particular episode, and one of the things I want to point out before we do, because if you noticed last episode, Rob posted that himself and did a great job, by the way, buddy. Thank you. On YouTube, on his own new channel. It's not that we've disassociated ourselves with Zone 4 and Sparky Brant Fowler, but at that particular time, Sparky was basically getting ready for his wedding to the lovely Lisa Moore, which, by the way, as we're recording the show, actually happened this morning. Congratulations to the happy couple, Brant and Lisa.
Hurrah!
Wishing both of you many, many, many happy years ahead.
Absolutely.
they actually videotape their wedding, and who knows? It may be online eventually. I'll have to go check that out. I was hoping I could watch it myself today, but the gremlins attacked my PC and I was offline for about 24 hours. But when I got back, I saw a still picture up on Facebook. They looked absolutely very happy, and what a wonderful ceremony. So congratulations to you. We couldn't be happy. So moving on, first agenda of this episode is our Who's Who update. And as it's a long piece, I'll run through the first paragraph, amigo, and I'll let you pick up the second one, okay?
All right.
All right. In our last episode, we announced our newest project, a directory of new pulp creators to be called Who's Who in New Pulp. What with the concept of new pulp, well now established in the world of literature, we thought it was time to have a comprehensive alphabetical listings of writers, artists, editors, and publishers currently working in the field. At the back of the book, we would also be listing all those publishers who are now also publishing new pulp fiction. And Rob, we're also going to have a second list for all those people in the field who actually review new pulp fiction.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, any
that's
young
new.
So any young creators coming into the field can use this listing. Say you've published your first book and you'd like an honest review. So again, as it turns out, many of our entries have listed themselves as reviewers. So
Cool.
we're putting that special list at the back of the book.
An
And should
appendix.
you ever,
Okay.
Yeah,
we can do an appendix of that. Yeah.
right. So if they, so you'll have this list of new pulp publishers, and then you'll have a list of new pulp reviewers. So someplace where you can send one of your books to get an honest evaluation of it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Good
right.
idea.
Yeah. And so again, once we made this announcement, we proceeded to spread the word across the internet. And as of today, and I'm going to update that mentally as much as I can when I wrote this agenda a few days ago. But my best guess is that we're probably at about 143 to 145 entries so far.
I've been keeping track, but yeah, that sounds about right.
The book is filling, people. The deadline again for writers and artists to get in their entries is midnight, June 25th. It is our hope to have the book assembled and up at Amazon, say about 3 weeks later, mid-July, because Rob's going to have his handful assembling this, okay? And hopefully, we really haven't, I don't think you've decided yet on the specific format, and I think a lot of that will deal with how big the book is going to be and how many entries we'll have, photographs, etc.
What I've got so far is the same size as the omnibus for Robin Hood and Jezebel Johnston, 7x10, and I will probably do it in 2 columns per page. Now, yeah, and I don't think it's going to be it's not going to be that big a book,
right?
So I can probably do a fairly large font. We'll try and keep it so it's inexpensive. We don't want it too expensive.
Exactly.
So they go by page number pricing how they print your book. So the 7x10, we can fit more stuff on each page. So that's another way we can kind of keep the cost down. But right now, that's how I've got it laid. I've initially got it laid out. All I've got so far, though, is the title page and the contents page, and the rest of it is just sitting there waiting for the final document that you send me.
Right.
And I've also got a file set aside for all the photos you've sent me so far. So I've got a ton load of them, that's cool. That's excellent. Yeah.
Right. So here we go. All the participants, all you wonderful writers, editors, and writers, will be able to buy copies from us directly once the book is up at Amazon. Plus the price of the book, and like Rob said, we don't want to overprice this. And so you'll have a small shipping fee from Amazon to have it sent directly to you. Should you want to buy multiple copies and sell them at conventions? Hey, they're your books, and sell them for what you'd like. The thing to keep in mind is that the actual proceeds from the book at Amazon, all the proceeds, every nickel, penny, dime, whatever, will be donated to the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And, I want to make a statement here, Rob. Every now and then I get surprised with people stepping beyond your expectations. All right. It's strange, and you know this already. We've had several colleagues of ours, for whatever reasons, all right, and really personal reasons, basically get back to us and say they really didn't want to participate in this project. Yep, and that's their call.
Yeah, that's their
Okay.
call.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it is. And just recently, I had one of our good friends and a really gifted creator write with that same, statement. Only he ended it with this. He said, I still think the idea is great. And just so you know, on behalf of the concept and the project, I'm making a donation to St. Jude's.
Perfect.
Amazing.
That's good. That's excellent.
Right.
Thank you.
You're
not saying who it is, but whoever it is, thank you very much. That's excellent. That's exactly what we want to see.
Gesture. Right. He didn't want his name known or whatever. So yeah.
Perfect.
So again, and that's the other thing. We need to talk about this as well to people understand. I'm having initially when we kicked this off, I had people writing saying, well, I value my privacy. I don't want to put my mailing address.
Then don't.
I don't want to put my email. Yeah. Then don't. And so you'll see some entries are going to be like that. Others will be like that. But as far as whatever information you want to give us is fine. Yeah. What you don't want to give us, we totally get. I would
suggest we're using this, use this as an opportunity to kind of promote yourself. So if you have a website, put that on there. Yeah. You don't have to put your home address. If you have a business address, put that on there. But if you don't want to put anything, that's fine. We would just like to have everyone listed that has something to do with the new pulp movement. Please,
And speaking of that segue, pick up the second paragraph.
All right. Initially, Ron and I had different thoughts as to the number of entries the book would eventually collect. Ron's being at least 200, while my count's a little lower. Reception by the new pulp community has proven to be highly positive and supportive, as is shown by the current tally, like you said, 143 or so, and with more than a month left before the deadline. It looks like Who's Who in new pulp is going to be a bona fide winner. It is also important to note that entries have been submitted by both young, new writers to the pulp scene, to old pros with stellar reputations a la Raymond Benson, Will Murray, and Max Allan Collins, just to name a few. Again, our goal is a comprehensive directory, and it looks like that is what we are going to have. Thanks to all of you who have already sent in your entries and have helped us spread the word about this project. Please keep doing so. We sincerely do not want to leave anyone out when the deadline arrives, June 25th.
June 25th, spread the word, right? And I'm really happy because a lot of our colleagues in the field who are themselves publishers or whatever are helping us spread the word. And I'm getting entries from young writers and artists that I personally have never heard from before in my life.
A lot of new names.
Right. And with their cover letters sending their entries, they're like, oh, well, Bob so-and-so told me about this. I'm very excited. Can I, here's my entry. And I'm like, welcome aboard. That's what we did this for. Yeah. So the bigger the book, the more comprehensive. And we, again, as we're saying, we hope it becomes a really useful tool. All right. To not only to the creators themselves, okay, but would-be anthologists. You're going to publish a book and you're looking for new pulp writers, okay? This thing will become an immediate asset for you to grab and take a look through. And then when you get best-selling authors like Raymond Benson, all right, or Max Allan Collins, all right, Will Murray's one of the leading stars in pulp writing and has been for the last 20 years, okay? That level of participation just buoyed my heart completely, all right? The pulp community is getting behind us, and in this particular year where we can't socially get together, maybe we'll do it collectively in this book, that'd be nice.
Yep.
All right. Okay. And this is one piece of the agenda I was only too happy to write. All right. 3 new amazing artists. As all of you who listen in regularly know, we've bemoaned the lack of artists on and on in the past few months. It is very much the biggest challenges we have in putting out our books for publication. is finding top-notch professional illustrators. Well, by some twist of fate, or call it minor miracles, if you will, in the past 2 weeks, we've actually been able to hook up with 3 amazing artists, and all of them are right now busy at work on new Airship 27 titles. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Ted Lehman, Lehman. I hope I said that right. Lemon. It's not lemon. It's
I think it's layman's probably right.
Lehman, right?
He will probably let us know.
I found Ted on Facebook, and meticulous art, very detailed, and he's currently doing the illustrations for Teal James Glenn.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm going
Tongue tied.
Teal James Glenn. All right. And I don't know, maybe it's the other way around. And again, mea culpa. All right. His thriller, Killing Shadows. Another Facebook discovery was Jeff Cram, who saddled up with us to illustrate writer Tyler Offhammer's Marshall Horn of Talon Crossings.
Right, there it is. Yep,
a Western collection. And finally, one of our very own loyal airmen out there kindly sent Jason Wren to us. All right. And the minute I saw his style of writing, I remembered we had this mystery collection, 2 stories in it, called the Jaina Coin Mysteries by writer Robert Ritchie. We assigned Jason to it, and what's he done? He's already completed 2 illustrations and is already today working on number 3.
Yeah, he sent us the layout for number 3 today. Yeah.
Right, and they're perfect. He's working on this like a charm. Okay, so as you can imagine, we are more than thrilled with picking up 3 very super talented creators like Ted, Jeff, and Jason. And as all of you will soon be seeing, their arrival is going to mean lots more fantastic Airship 27 titles coming your way.
That makes it much easier.
Oh, I'm beside myself. Each of them has a unique and different style, and least we forget, prior to their arrival, we had also hooked up with Guy Davis, my good friend from Colorado Springs, who's actually now working on one of Nancy Hansen's titles for us. So you go back a month, that's 4 new, artists that have come along and signed up with us. As I said at the end of my portion, it will make all the difference in the world on how we can get these books into gear, into the queue, and hopefully out on a regular basis. Again, hey, if they only ever do 1 book for us, I will be eternally grateful, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this is just the beginning of a longer association.
Yeah, stick around, guys. This is fun stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah, I think the common thread with artists that have worked with us in the past has been that, okay? It's like, well, Ron and Rob didn't make me rich, but I had a good time working with them.
Yeah, that we can't offer much money, but we can surely offer you a fun time. Pulp stories are fun to read, fun to illustrate. Then that's the point. They're fun.
Yep.
So,
amen. All right, you take the next one, buddy.
All right, released since our last show. Ravenwood, Stepson of Mystery, Volume 4, a great new collection featuring the classic occult detective as written by L.R. Stahlberg, Dwayne Dowers, Michael Black, and Michael Housel. Ed Cato provided the great interior illustrations, and Adam Shaw the really gorgeous cover. We can't say enough good things about that cover. Yeah. So and the next, Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective, Volume 15. It figures 5 new mysteries, 1 each from Gary Levisi, Dexter Fabi, Jonathan Casey, and 2 from I.A. Watson. Yours truly did the interior illustrations. The colorful cover painting was by Graham Hill, his second Holmes cover for us.
And there you go. I mean, Both of them we've been talking about for a few episodes before we got here. And both of us were naturally excited about boat projects because of the excellent quality of the stories and, of course, the art that accompanied them. And granted, okay, I mean, the second we posted that Ravenwood cover by Adam Shaw, I must have had at least 3 or 4 people on Facebook basically say, that's pulp.
Yeah.
That is pulp. That is
It's a
something
really good, wonderful cover.
yeah,
Wonderful cover.
you'd have seen that on the kiosk, okay? And you know, back walking the streets of Manhattan, all right? And Graham Hill's second, uh, Holmes cover for us basically is a classic pose of Holmes and Dr. Watson outside of 221B Baker Street. So there you go, okay? Now, what's coming next? If everything continues, our next release will be a new novel by writer R.A. Jones called The Road Twice Traveled. It is something truly different for us at Airship 27, and there may be lots of our readers scratching their heads about this one. Is it or is it not pulp? Whereas the story about a man who, on the day of his 65th birthday, is granted the gift of being able to go back and relive his life, clearly makes this a fantasy along the lines of something like Jimmy Stewart's It's a Wonderful Life. The concept here is the hero's life has been an abject failure. It's one of disappointment and loneliness, and all because he made bad choices along the way. So in this so-called do-over, he's given the chance to make the right choices. And we, the reader, see the powerful changes for good that results in accordingly. The Road Twice Traveled is masterful, a poignant drama by a writer of tremendous insight into the human condition, and one we at Airship 27 are very proud to be bringing to the world. But be warned, before you start reading it, have a box of tissues nearby. Oh, to date, this story has brought tears to all who have had the joy of reading it, including myself, Rob, artist Jeff Butler. It's something special, ain't it, buddy?
Yeah, and Ron tapped me to illustrate this one, and with just a little bit of thought, I'm going. Don't want hard edges for this, so I'm doing this pencil, with pencil shadings on it. So it's a little bit homier, a little bit more down to earth. I don't have those really sharp edges that the black ink would give it. And I thought even washes wouldn't really be quite right, but that pencil, it kind of softens it, gives it a more I just finished the 5th one last night, and I sent you a JPEG of it earlier today. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Oh yeah, I
But
did. I
sixth
did.
one, yeah, fifth one, I believe it is.
And I absolutely love it, Rob. I every single one you turned in is just put a big smile on my face. I really cannot help but think that RA is going to love those. But I've got to tell you, all right, I'm going to hint at this because we're not going to show this off. But when Rob took on the assignment after losing Jeff Butler, which was again due to this ridiculous pandemic, Jeff loved the book and was really hoping to have time to do the interior illustrations. But Jeff teaches art at a college in Michigan, and literally with the schools closing down, everything was forced to go online, including his summer courses. So suddenly he's had to learn this whole new video technology and connect with each of his students together as a group or individually, critique their art, et cetera, et cetera. And as Rob will tell you, his wife is an art teacher. That's not easy to do online.
No, it's in fact, it's darn near impossible. Mostly what you can do is what my wife did is she and you can't do the same kind of program because you don't know necessarily what the kids have at home to work with. She does 3rd grade through 8th grade. And do they all have watercolors at home? We don't know. Do they have crayons at home? We don't know. They might have a pencil. They might have some paper. But she had to really think about those kind of things. You can make an assignment. Okay, use pastels and do this. Well, not everybody has pastels on their shelf. we're not talking about specific arts. We're talking you're going. Some of them are going, well, I'm not all that interested in art, but you should learn about art. It rounds you out as a human being and gives you how to creatively solve problems. It's good for you. But anyway, no, I can't imagine a college course either, because there's going to be, are they going to be able to go out and get a canvas? Who knows? Are they going to have those at home? If he's got a painting course, if he's, so there's a lot going on there.
So
you still want to teach people skills, but you don't know exactly what they've got home to work with.
Yeah, and so that was it. Jeff sadly had to bow out, and I was at that. I'd had the manuscript going on about a year now, and I'd already spoken to Rob about it. We talked about it in the past, and I told you how unique it was. So finally, it was a case of, okay, you know what? Here you go, Rob. Look at this and see if you want to take it on. And he did, which I'm thrilled about. But within a few days of you having the manuscript, you sent me the cover.
2 days.
Yeah, see?
So Rob, 2 days.
So Rob sends me the cover, right? And I look at it, and I'm not going to say anything to any of you loyal airmen. This has to be a surprise. But
it's not like any other cover.
But I have to tell you, a few days after we wrapped it up, i.e. I did the back cover text and you redesigned all of it together, Valerie happened to be in the office. And so I said, Val, she comes over my shoulder here, right? She goes, well, I said, look at this. And I pull up the widespread back, front cover and everything else. And her face just lit up. Her face actually just lit up. And she went, oh my Lord. She goes, Rob did that? I said, yeah. And she goes, that's for the R.A. Jones book, right? I said, yeah. She goes, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. I said, I think so as well. So,
yep. Light bulb went off.
Yep. Oh, hang in there. Again, like I said, look, if all you ever want to read is Mask Avengers and superheroes and horror and fantasy, then by all means, okay, that's your cup of tea and that's what you like. Okay.
Yeah.
But in the past, Airship 27 has maybe stretch that umbrella a little bit, like things like we did with R.A. Jones' book about the Holocaust way back at the start of it.
Yeah, that's it wasn't R.A.
No, it was Andrew Salmon.
There you go. Yeah, I went blank on his name for a minute, but yeah, Andrew Salmon.
Wow, a powerful, gripping book. Believe me. Okay,
that was a hard book.
It was,
man.
Yep, but one that needed to be published. Okay,
oh, yeah. It was a great story.
Yeah, and so. Basically, that's it. Okay. I mean, if we're going to continue being a vibrant part of this community, this publishing community, then that's one of our goals, to find those kind of exceptional books that won't only entertain you, but maybe make you think a little bit. Because the philosophy behind the book, regardless of whatever your bent is religiously or whatever, okay, there are repercussions in life with every decision we make. You know that, Rob. Every day in the average human being, you're going to make dozens of decisions during the course of that day. And guess what? Ultimately, as they add up in your life, they will shape your life for the good or maybe the not so good. And that's what R.A. Jones centers in on this book. And again, like I said, it's very hard not to read it and find spots in it that don't mirror similar things that you might have experienced in your own life. And said, gee, I wish I'd have done, we do, right, Rob?
Yeah.
I wish I'd have done this instead. I wish I'd have done that instead.
Can't live for 65 years without having some things that you go, well, that was a dumb choice I made there. Just hoping that there are a few of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And because the further down that wrong fork of the road you go, the harder it is to get back.
Amen. Amen to that. All right. Hey, why don't you pick up, the next one's a little short, but why don't you pick up that and also in the works for us?
All right. I'll do the next two paragraphs then. Okay. Followed by the third Bay Phantom novel by Chuck Miller, Midnight in Hell's Cathedral. Kevin Broden is turning in some truly amazing illustrations, and this one is moving to completion at a good clip. Also in the works, we hope to have a fourth Brother Bones title out by midsummer. This one features 4 writers tackling the denizens of Cape Noir, with Fred Adams Jr. having written a Hairy Beast story, Beast being the mobster whose brain is put into the body of a silverback gorilla.
I love that guy.
Th-
I love Beast.
Yeah, right. Then Andy Fix delivers an action-packed tale of Cape Noir's sexy vampire, Sister Blood. Following this is writer Drew Meyer showcasing a story about Detective Dan Raines, perhaps the only honest cop left in Cape Noir. With all these stories now in-house, all that remains is for Ron to whip up a brand new Brother Bones adventure to complete the package, which when done will be released under the title Brother Bones Tales of Cape Noir.
Oh, hey, believe me, these guys just delivered far beyond what I could imagine, right? And the truth of the matter was, when you read the Brother Bones series, there is a continuation that falls along there. From the first collection to Roman Leary's novel to the other collections that came after it. So there is a progress, and I have, in dealing with it, basically said, you know what, some characters survive, others don't. And as you read it through, some have died and some have not. Okay. So in recruiting these gentlemen to join me in playing in my sandbox, I didn't want to put manacles on any of them, and basically said, look, why don't you read the last collection, which all three of them did, and are familiar with the series. And then I said, take it from there. Well, creators are going to create, Rob, okay? And every one of them gave me new characters.
Of course they did.
Right. So now the cast is expanding, and they've left open-ended situations at the end. So it's like there's a part of me creatively that wants to wrap this up, that wants to bring these three different virgin plots and new characters into one big tale at the end of the book, the payoff for our Brother Bones fans, all right? And it's like the Gordian knot that I have to unravel with a plot that makes sense at the same time, okay? And how does the Undead Avenger work into these new characters and what these guys have left? So they pretty much basically all left me with cliffhangers. Figure it out, but it's a challenge, and as a writer, it's something that I absolutely love to take on, and to we're talking to get the creative juices going, because I am really happy with those three stories. And if you loyal airmen out there are honest to goodness Brother Bone fans, you are going to be thrilled with those three. I can tell you that. What I do, well, say a prayer, please. All right, I need the muse to help me out here. All right, but yeah, this is going to be a special book. And let me take the next part here, because I'll let it segue, because there are a couple comic projects that we want to talk about this month, right? Okay, so speaking of the Undead Avenger, pro artist Chris Nye, who recently illustrated The Rate anthology from Airship 27, has signed on, yay, to illustrate my 130-page Brother Bones graphic novel, The Beginning. Okay, for the first time, Bones' origin is going to be told in comic forms. And I'm hoping fans are going to love this, okay? Up until now, it's only ever appeared in that first collection, in the first short story, The Bone Brothers, all right? Mm-hmm. And then we've done comic projects. We've done short comic stories. We did one single story, Bullets of Jade, and then very short Brother Bones comic strips. But I've had fans come up to the table and say, well, are you ever going to do a comic book origin from that story? And that's what this graphic novel is all about. Chris is going to pencil and ink it, while Rob will do the editing and lettering. All right. And we're going to do this through Redbud Studios when it's done, and publish it at Amazon. All right. Yep. We've already got a amazing painted cover by Steve Otis that's been sitting. Someone else was going to do the art, but at the last minute couldn't come through. Steve had already turned in a really beautiful cover that we aren't letting go to waste. Let me tell you, it will. No. It will eventually be on the graphic novel. Now, Chris is not only doing this, but I want to give a tip of the hat to fellow writer Mark Ellis. Mark had been working with Chris recently on another comic book project, and basically they discussed what they were going to do after that was done. And so Chris had at that time made a commitment to Mark to continue on this new project when Ron comes knocking on the door and says, please, please, I've got this graphic novel script. And God bless Chris, because we've become fairly good friends, was excited by the idea and looked at it, but then did this. You know, you and I know, we know professionals when we meet them and encounter them. And what Chris did was basically thought it over and went back to Mark Ellis and told Mark, hey, look, I am by no means wanting out of my commitment to do this next comic project with you. I'm looking forward to it. But at the same time, Ron's offered me this and explained the Brother Bones graphic novel, right? And so what Chris came up with, and I'm sure you understand this, buddy, he realized it was an opportunity for him to have two projects going at the same time, all right, in two different story genres, which would allow his brain and creativity to shift gears, to do 3 or 4 pages of this kind of story and then say, okay, I've got to clear the palette, the mind, and go to the other project. Okay. That being the case, Mark, God bless him, didn't have a set deadline. He knew he was keeping Chris and going to get this great artwork, and basically said, hey, I'm okay with this. This is fine. At which point Chris got back, told us, I'm on board the Brother Bones project. So hallelujah. And like I said, a tip of the pulp fedora to Mark Ellis for being a gentleman and for being a buddy. Okay. And
Thanks,
so,
Mark.
yeah. And so the Brother Bones graphic novel is going to be completed, but understand this, have some patience, folks. Okay. He's working on 2 projects. Rob's busy. We're all busy. And the end result is, my best guess is that not this summer as we get into it. I say give us a year. I'm saying next summer we should have that graphic novel. Hopefully.
Maybe. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But don't.
It's 130 pages. It takes a while to get that done. So,
and just so you know, Chris brought it up, and I'm fully in favor of it because we are announcing it publicly, rather than have you all sit there and, you know, be counting the days or looking at your calendars or whatever. All right. Every now and then in the course of the project, when Chris, myself, or Rob think a page is a lot of fun, we will put it up on Facebook.
yeah.
We will show you our progress. We will show you pages. Okay. Whet your appetite a little bit for the final project, if you will. All right.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's Ron's project, and I've got Rob and Chris on board. I could not be happy as the writer of this script. Okay. It's a book that I've wanted to see out there for a long, long time. And now Rob can bring us up to date on his current project, which is now taken a very big leap up.
Well, I didn't think about this, or I would have gotten the link. We'll put the link in the notes. But the Twilight Grimm Kickstarter campaign started 5 days ago, and this is a full color miniseries written by R.A. Jones and illustrated by yours truly. I did the penciling and inking of it, and this was done for Roland Mann's Silverline Comics. Kickstarter for issue number 1 began earlier this last week, and as part of a twofer with Barb Kahlberg's Divinity #1. This is Barbara, as she and I were on an online video podcast earlier this last week to promote it, and come to find out her career and mine kind of parallel each other. We both work for Now Comics. We both work for Malibu. We both work for DC and Marvel. So, and about the same time, we were in the same circulations, and her career kind of imploded at the same time mine did, because of the implosion of the whole industry went through a quote unquote implosion back in the late 90s, and it pushed a lot of us out of it. And some of us, as I said during the podcast, I said some of us are clawing back in. And I mentioned Airship 27 because they asked me to introduce myself and cover a few things. And after the show was over, before I left, they actually mentioned that they might want to talk to me about Airship 27. And I said, well, you need to talk to Ron Fortier too. So, and I'm sorry that I'm not remembering the name of the podcast that we did. I didn't pull it up like I should have, but maybe you and I can get
That'd be
on
fun.
there and
Yeah, by all means. And if you find the link later,
they seemed really interested. Yeah, I will put the link up, and you and I can talk about maybe doing that, contacting them. And they had on that same podcast, they had the artist for the new Bass Reeves comic book that's up in Walmart. Have you heard about it? You got a copy, right? Yeah,
David,
the artist.
what was it? David Williams, right?
He was
David Williams.
He was on
Look
the
at
podcast. There you
Look
go.
at that.
It's
That
disappearing.
Ooh, magic.
Yeah, he was on there, and we talked a little bit about Bass Reeves, and I like how I liked his art style, and that the whole idea that Bass Reeves now has his own comic book. Mentioned our aborted attempt to try and do a Bass Reeves graphic novel or a series for somebody, and no one bit. So I was very happy to see that someone is actually taking the ball and running with it and doing something with it.
It's an excellent book. Kevin Giroux wrote the script. I applauded him greatly on Facebook. I wanted to find this book the minute I found out it was in production. I've met Kevin before at a convention when he first come on the scene writing the Underworld movies, and he's a really great guy. And so it was funny because when the book came out, I haunted the local Walmart until I found them, and I bought all four, Rob. I bought this, I bought Red Rooster, and the other two are fantasy novels, and all of them classic comic books, exceptionally well done.
Excellent.
Yeah, what I love is this whole new distribution chain. And maybe next podcast we can talk a little bit more about that. I think it deserves a lot more support.
Well, one caveat with that was that they had arranged for it to be near the electronics and that stuff, but some of the managers of the Walmarts are putting them in the book section and even put them in the kids book section. These are not kids' books, but that's where they put them. Some of the managers don't quite get it.
Comics Airship 27.
My computer announcing what I'm supposed to be doing now, which is working on some Airship 27 stuff. So
right, and the idea, and because when we were checking out our Walmart, I had just assumed it would be by the books, the magazines section, okay?
No.
And then other people were writing and telling me they were finding them in the DVD sections, okay?
That's where they're supposed to be, yeah.
Well, eventually we went, and Val and I took different routes around it, and sure enough, they have an electronic section, like you said, okay, where they have all kinds of gizmos for your computer, your telephone, whatever.
Right.
But they're in there, and no offense with that thought, but they're off the main aisle. And if we hadn't purposely looking in the back, they were in the back aisle.
Oh, man. So the manager, they're supposed to be on like what they call an end cap?
Right. From the main aisle.
Probably put them on the backside end cap.
Right.
Okay. Well.
But anyway.
But they're at least they're there.
They're there.
In Walmart. Comic books are back in Walmart. Yeah.
Yes. Amen. Hallelujah. Again. Yeah, and Loyal Airman, it's quality comics, as Rob said. The Bass Reeves books, I cannot applaud enough. Part of my review, and I joked a little bit about it, is that I love the approach. I love the storyline, how it was done. I probably would have done it a little tiny bit different. There is so much we know about Bass, all right? And it's very hard it's going to be impossible for anybody to get his entire story correct. 100%. We can infer some things, and that's where Kevin's story would have diverged, like going left a little bit where I'd have gone right a little bit. Those kind of things, which are, as I said in my review, so nitpicky, it's ridiculous. All right. The bottom line, because people know of our involvement, Rob, in our Bass Reeves anthologies, all right, I've had a lot of friends say, so what do you think of the new Bass Reeves comic books? And my answer all out is I love it. I think it's great. I think it needs
great.
Oh.
I have not seen it yet. I was in Walmart this last week, and I had forgotten all about them being in Walmart, so I didn't even look for them. Being in my self-imposed social distancings, we only go to Walmart maybe once every week and a half or so. So I'll have to try and remember to look for them when I go this next time. But for everything I've seen and talking to the guy on that podcast the other night, it sounds like a really good book. So
it is. It's actually, please check it out. I think you'll be very, very happy with it. Okay, so we're going to post links to the Twilight Grimm Kickstarter campaign
Right,
for all of you out
right.
there. Okay, please go check it out. And like Rob said, there's also Bob Kahlberg's Divinity, which
Yeah, it's a twofer. So they're up the whole Kickstarter. You can bid and get stuff from just one or both. There's actually a flip book that's got her book on one side and mine on the back.
neat.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can support us. I've got some original art that's for sale. I've offered up 4 original sketches, like convention type sketches, for sale. And Barb's got several big names to come in and do some pinups type of art for original art that they're selling. Just go to the Kickstarter page, look at the link down below, and you're going to find something. If you're interested in at all in what we're selling here, there's some kind of level that you can get involved. Anywhere from, I think it's like $4 or $5, $10, all the way on up to a couple of hundred. So, whether you want to get involved or not. Within the first day, we were 1/3 of the way to our.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Hey,
within 48 hours, we were within 1/3 of our goal. Now it's kind of leveled off right now, so that's why I'm pushing. Folks, get out there. We've got like 25 days or something to get this out there. I think we're going to make it, but the sooner we do, then we can start doing push things, and we can maybe do some other items to get people interested, and so we can go even above that. Yeah. So, but we'll see. I would never do a Kickstarter myself. Yeah. That's more work than I want to do, but I'm happy to be involved in this one. Roland's doing all the work, so okay.
Some people have a knack for that. What are you going to do? Some people have a knack for it.
It's just not my thing. So
you and me both. But this and the reason I wanted to finish the show off what I was talking about this particular item is because some of you might be sitting there going, well, this is supposed to be a show about pulps. Well, you know what? The Bass Reeves books, all the new books from Allegiance, the stuff that Rob and Silverline are doing, those are pulp comics, people. Okay, there is a connection. There is a serious connection. All right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you love pulps, action, adventure, fantasy, it's
vampires?
all in this book.
Come on. That's what Twilight Grimm is about. Vampires, fighting vampires. If that's not pulp, what is?
What is?
Okay. So
anyway. We have a question. This month.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read it, and then Rob and I have an announcement to make.
Yeah.
Which, as it turns out, this question is rather fitting. All right, and it's from our good friend Lee Houston Jr., and he says, "Here's an obvious one. With effects felt worldwide, how has the current pandemic affected Airship 27 directly?" Well, there are 2 parts to that. All right. The first part is how has it affected production? Wow, positively. I mean, our writers and artists are locked indoors doing their thing. All right. It's kind of hard to be socially distracted when you can't be social.
And some of them want stuff to do. So
we're giving it to them. Here's an assignment. Right. And so, so I find my days wicked busy, getting all kinds of new submissions.
Yeah.
And as we talk, we've got artists now. All right. So there's this positive flip to that, but there's also a negative flip to that. And you want to make the statement, Rob?
Yeah, this was not, to be honest, this was not something I had given a whole lot of thought to, but yesterday the thought had crossed my mind that that this might be the year of no conventions. And Ron brought it up today before we decided to do the show today. We talked for a little bit on Skype prior to this, and we've decided that that this is going to be the year we're not going to travel. We're not going to travel until there is a vaccine for COVID-19. And from everything that looks like at least January and probably later, January 21. Now that's it. And I'm about, but we're definitely going to Pulp Fest, which is in August. And then hopefully I'll contact them before this goes live, but I have not contacted them yet. But we're going to have to, I think we'll table rate and the memberships that we bought for Windy City and Pulp Fest, we'll just roll them over into the 2021 shows, because by the time those are going, one way or another, there should be a vaccine and or a treatment. Right. So we're hoping that's what's going to happen. But it looks like, to our regret, both Ron's and mine, because we're both itching to get out and meet fans and talk to them. We're stuck indoors, and we're stuck at our drawing board. I'd like to get out and talk to some fans, but it's just it's scary out there, folks.
Yeah. That
this is a very contagious disease, and we're just not going to take the risk until there's at least a vaccine. And again, I haven't completely made the decision on Planet Comic-Con, but that looks like it may also go that way. But I will make a final decision on that. I've got until August. Right. But again, I think I'm just going to roll the table fees on whatever over to the next year. Yeah, it's already gone. I'm not missing it, and so we'll just roll it over to the next year. So I will contact them here shortly.
Right. I pretty much, caught Rob, by surprise before.
A little bit.
He said, we talked when we hooked up to start recording this episode, and a lot of this is due to the fact that this past week, if you've been following Facebook at all, you will know that last Tuesday, very quickly, all right, my 95-year-old mother passed away back in a wonderful home in southern New Hampshire, and as much as we, knew that day would come, it caught my family and I all by surprise. Well, most of the family lives still back east, and they can travel by car, whereas there isn't going to be funeral service or visitations or those kind of things. My two brothers from back east were hoping we could have some kind of a gravesite ceremony. And so my wife and I started talking about that here, whereas our kids here basically realized they weren't at all happy with that idea. And we had a family conference, and they made us realize, and this, as Rob stated immediately, it's really not safe. All right. I respect anybody's wishes to do what they want. This is a free country, but the numbers indicate that it is really not safe to be out, to be flying, and to be trapped in an airplane or whatever. Okay. And there's no other way we can do this. And the scenarios just keep getting worse and worse. What if we flew out feeling all right, but then to come home, suddenly we have a fever and they won't, or a temperature, and they won't let us back on the plane to come home? We could end up being trapped. The unknown variables just made us realize and take note, okay, that we have to wait. We just have to be a little more patient. And again, one of the things I mentioned to Rob was this country has endured a lot of greater, ills. World War II lasted 4 years. People didn't know what normal was. Their loved ones, their relatives were overseas fighting, losing their lives. They were rationing in this country, all right? There was no normal for 4 years, and they endured, all right? So we're going to lose a year, folks. This will be the 2020 COVID year of no convention, all right? But God willing, and people listen, and we all do our part, all right? Come next spring, early summer, we'll be right back out there, and eagerly so.
It'll just be a year. I mean, there a lot will happen between now and then. Ron's pretty healthy. I'm pretty healthy. We should still be around. God forbid we step off the curb and a bus hits us, but that's the way life is.
Right.
Something might happen. But if we see the bus coming, don't step out in the street. Right?
Yeah.
We see the
Oh,
bus coming. We're not
oh.
stepping out in the street.
No,
Okay.
no. But
Okay.
the truth of the matter is, again, Rob's situation and my own, we are in that what they call, the target zone as far as being susceptible to this kind of a malady or a pandemic. All right. And hey, I mean, our loved ones were looking at us like, is any convention worth your life? And the answer to that was obviously no, not at all. All right. Not when all we need to do is hunker down, wait for a vaccine.
We want to go really bad.
Oh, we
want to see you guys.
miss all of
We
you.
want to see you. We don't want to give you or get it from you.
We have traditions. We could spend another hour talking about all the traditions that we follow every year, like Fuddruckers, all right, every Friday night at Windy City, okay, and the other things we do at Pulp Fest and whatever. And I'm sure, Rob, we're just echoing all our colleagues and writers and friends out there too. So again, that's the sad news for this year. But hey, you know what? Again, we're going to tend to look at the positive. We're going to tend to look at producing some of the best bloody Airship 27's weekend this year. All right. If we're hunkered down here, then we're going to make lemonade out of the
new shocks for my car. We're going to have so many books. It's ridiculous.
There you go.
And the thing is, I've already got books bought. I bought books for Planet Comic-Con early this spring. They're still sitting over here.
I booked. Want to know what I did? Okay. I went and had a new banner made for my local cons. All right. This new 8-foot banner. I get it done within 2 days of the shutdown. Right. When I went and picked it up, right, the people there had never seen the comics except they were going nuts. They wanted pictures taken with me, but we couldn't even get close to each other. All right. It was like, wrap it up. It's in the corner of my office.
I bought a new banner too for Planet Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah.
It is. All right. Is there anything else, amigo, that you want to?
Not that I can think of right offhand. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. But now, your joke, right?
Oh, okay. Now, you'll please forgive me because I'm digging into the oldies pile. All right, because I initially wanted to talk with Rob about con attendance and our change of plans. And so while we were both here, we had the agenda ready. And I said, well, let's do the show. And I haven't had an opportunity to go like we do, scour the net looking for new jokes. But this is one that I heard a few years back that I've always enjoyed. All right. So here we go. All right. It's a busy day at this particular office in a metropolitan town city, pre-pandemic. And all the clerks are sitting around and working and everything. And it's really hot outside. And the air conditioning is doing the best it can. But it's a miserable summer day. They're looking out the windows and they're seeing blue skies. They can see the park, people playing and everything. And they're grinding away, these accountants, just going at it. And what do you think happens? Right after lunch, the boss comes out. The mean old grouchy boss comes out and goes, I've got to go out. I have got a doctor's appointment. Now, I'm going to be out. But I don't want anybody getting any ideas of sneaking home early. All right? Think you can mess with the time clock or whatever? Hey, I'll find out. Anybody gets caught sneaking out, that's it. Notice you're fired. Kiss your job goodbye. And he walks out. Goes off to his doctor's office. So they're still working away. And one of the guys turns around and goes, oh, this is nuts. He's bluffing. There is no freaking way he can figure out if one of us leaves early. You guys keep quiet. I'm out of here. And so sure enough, he grabs his stuff, puts it in, goes downstairs, goes to the parking lot, jumps in the parking lot, and drives out of the city. Gets to the suburbs, and there's his home, right? And he goes, oh, my wife's going to be so surprised. I'm home early. He pulls up into the parking lot, and there's another car in the parking lot that he's never seen before. What the heck? So gets out of his car, and he walks in the house, and, honey, I'm home. He doesn't hear anything. Oh, all right. So he starts going up the stairs, and as he's going up the stairs, he starts hearing noises coming from his bedroom. Uh-oh. He creeps up to the door, and he cracks it a little bit, and there's his wife and his boss making out like crazy, having sex. He backs away from the door, goes down the stairs quietly, out the door, and closes it. Runs over, jumps in his car, and races back downtown. Goes into the office, runs in the office, and turns around, looks at his best friend, goes, "Phew, he almost caught me."
Oh man. He almost caught me.
I
That's
repeated that.
horrible.
I've told this joke maybe 4 years ago on this show, 3-4 years ago. But like I said, it's still one that makes me laugh. It's
Oldie
the
but goodie.
classic misdirection. All right, he almost caught me. Oh yes. All right, and there you go. As Rob and I like to say, you have just spent another hour. You are never
going to get back.
And Rob's going to be hopefully getting this up within the next couple of days, because again, as Rob said, we have some people that we should professionally notify before anything else. All right, and then when Rob does post it to YouTube, he can make a comment at that site with those links that we talked about in the show. We want to wrap the show up once again saying congratulations to Brant and Lisa on their wedding day.
Congratulations. Hey, welcome to the married world. It's not the same.
No, but I love the fact that they went ahead and did it anyways and didn't let some.
Yes, good for them.
Stop
good
them.
for them. Excellent.
All right. Well, that's it, Rob. Nothing else. I'll let you sign out, and then I'll do the same.
This is Chief Engineer Rob Davis signing off.
And Captain Ron says, down ship.
Sailor that sails over the sea, out over the wild